Here's how I saved a ton of money on the install of my newest dance studio floor without sacrificing safety or quality. In the past, I've done my dance studio subfloors DIY style, and I've used the name brand pre-made click-together subfloor. In my opinion, my DIY floor feels just as good for ballet, jazz, and contemporary, and sounds even better for tap than the name brand prefab floor. When it was time for me to add a new studio space recently, the price was the deciding factor. All in, the materials and supplies for my DIY subfloor only cost me 1/10 of the cost of the pre-made. The installation was about the same. There was a bit more prep time, but I think it was worth the savings. I put a link in the comments to a spreadsheet with links to purchase the supplies that I used, and you can use the spreadsheet to figure out how much of everything you need and what your cost will be. So let me show you how to do your own DIY subfloor, roll your Marley out on top, and save some serious cash. Here's what you're going to need. I did splurge on this rotary cutting tool for creating the foam squares that go under the floor to make it go faster. However, you can use a box knife. I also used EVA foam squares that are 24 by 24 and 3/8 inch thick, Loctite Power Grab all-purpose adhesive to secure the foam to the base layer of the subfloor, 4 by 8 7/16 inch thick OSB, and tongue and groove OSB subfloor, also 4 foot by 8 foot. I went with the Adagio Roscoe Marley on top. Note that I have these rolls standing up and not leaning so as to not create ripples when I roll it out. First, I cut my big foam squares into little foam squares. You will need a 4-inch by 4-inch square of foam for each square foot of floor. You will get 36 4-inch squares out of each 2-foot piece of EVA foam. I made a template and then used a screwdriver to score the lines that I cut along. The 4-inch squares then get arranged 1 per square foot on the 7/16 inch OSB that will be the base layer of the subfloor using the Loctite Power Grip. Note here that some boards will be cut to fit your room, so you will make cuts before adhering the foam squares. Center your base layer boards and then measure carefully to fill in the additional space. Remember, measure twice, cut once. Use a chalk line to get your cuts straight. Lay your boards in a brick pattern so that you don't end up with long seams that will create squishy spots in your dance floor. Repeat the same steps with your tongue and groove top layer, but orient your boards in the other direction, so one layer will be portrait and one layer will be landscape. Again, measure carefully. You want the boards to fit tight. Note that we didn't use any screws. In the past, I did this process but did not use tongue and groove OSB for the top layer and needed screws to get the boards to lay flat at the seams. The screws worked their way up and eventually caused damage to some spots on my Marley over time. This one laid beautifully flat with no screws. The tongue and groove OSB is slightly more expensive, but totally worth it. Now it's time to lay the Marley. I went with the Roscoe Adagio over the stage step floor because I've used both in the past and found that the Roscoe is not as heavy and therefore easier to move if necessary. I have never had the cracking issues that I had with my stage step. I think it sounds better for tap while being equally as comfortable for all soft shoe styles and no shoe styles of dance, and it was much less expensive. When we were ready to roll out the Marley, we had some debate as to which side went up. Luckily, it turned out to be clearly marked. We rolled it out, jumped out the bumps, marked and trimmed the ends carefully, and cut down the excess width of one of the rolls to fit our room, cutting with a box knife. There was 1 day of prep and 1 day of install, and my per square foot price came in at $7.17, including labor. My square footage price with the pre-made subflooring and stage step brand Marley would have been right around $20 before labor. If you found this video valuable, please hit like and subscribe and follow us for more information about how to plan your studio space and your studio year.